Welcome back to Lover's Court, the relationship courtroom where love dramas get judged and verdicts get served. If you're new here, this is where we bring the juiciest relationship tales straight to the bench, and trust me, today's cases are piping hot. So grab your seat, because court is now in session. The first story is by u/dazzle1093 in the relationship advice subreddit. I, 25 female, miscarried, and my brother-in-law assaulted me. I don't know how to tell my husband, 28 male. I, 25 female, have been with my husband, 28 male, for 4 years, and we've been married for a little over a year now. Our relationship is amazing. He is my best friend, and I love him deeply. My husband has been serving in the military for about 7 years, and he has always been dedicated to his career. Earlier this year, he lost one of his closest friends to suicide, which completely shattered his world. Watching him grieve was heartbreaking. He was crushed and carried immense guilt. A few weeks after he left for his current shift, I found out I was pregnant. It was completely unexpected because we were careful and not trying. We had talked about starting a family eventually, but it was not on the radar just yet. I was very scared and anxious. I had just started my new job, and with my husband away, having a baby in the middle of all that was not ideal. But after a few appointments, I started to love the idea of having a family. After everything he had been through, I thought this could be a blessing. I planned how I would tell him in a sweet, meaningful way when we were scheduled to meet up in a few weeks. Then a couple of days after my second appointment, where my OB told me things looked okay for such an early stage, I started having complications. I ended up losing the baby. I was devastated. I felt blindsided and betrayed. I had imagined this future with him coming home to me and our baby. I imagined the joy on his face when he found out and how this new chapter might help us both heal. Instead, I was left with immense grief and alone because I had not even told him yet. I feel stupid because we had talked on the phone and a few video calls, but I never said anything. I wanted to surprise him in person and hug him when I told him this news. None of that would happen. I felt so heartbroken and alone. I did not have the courage to tell my husband about the miscarriage, so I decided I would tell him once I came to terms with it. I know now that was not the best choice. During this time, my brother-in-law, my husband's younger brother, who lived in the same city, helped with some health insurance stuff, which felt like such a relief. Given how emotionally fragile I was, I did not think twice about accepting his kindness. He began checking in regularly, offering to pick up groceries, dropping off food, even driving me to a couple of my follow-up appointments when I was too weak and emotionally wrecked to do it alone. He never pushed or pried. I thought he was just trying to help me and be a good friend. I was deeply grateful. A few days ago, he showed up with takeout from one of my favorite places. I had not eaten properly in days. I was emotionally drained and did not have the strength to say no. During our conversation, he said something about how lonely I must feel. I gave him a weak smile because it was true. I did feel lonely without my husband. We started talking about something else when he mentioned it again, to which I responded, "At least I have you," just to show gratitude for his help these past weeks. Then he said something along the lines of how I should not be alone and he could help me with that. I felt weird because technically he had been helping me, but it was his tone. It did not feel like kindness anymore. I stood up and went into the kitchen, saying I had dishes to do, trying to brush off the conversation. A moment later, I felt him behind me, so close I could feel his breath near my neck. I froze. Before I could turn around, his hands were on me in ways that made my skin crawl. I said his name sharply, trying to make it clear this was not okay, but he did not stop. I will not go into detail because I'm not comfortable even thinking about it. All I can say is that I pushed him off and was crying. I don't remember if I said the word no, but I was saying stop. I was terrified and frozen. He kept telling me that I was grieving and that it was okay. I wanted him off me, but I could not move or scream or do anything except cry. Then I think I collapsed and fell to the floor, which is when he backed off and looked at me in a way that made me feel even sicker. There was no guilt or panic in his eyes. I just kept shivering and hyperventilating until he left. I locked every door after that and was just on the floor sobbing and shaking. This was not some stranger. This was my brother-in-law, someone who had seen me cry over the baby I lost, someone who pretended to care, someone I trusted. It has been 10 days. I feel dirty and broken. I keep having nightmares that all start with me opening the door for him. I regret letting him in. I throw up when I see the groceries he bought. I can't get in my car because he drove it. I avoid the kitchen because that space feels haunted. I know none of this is my fault, but I keep blaming myself for accepting help or not seeing his true intentions. I just feel unsure and confused. His brother at the moment is acting like nothing ever happened. Radio silence from him, except he texted, "Am I okay? And I'm there if I need anything," on separate days. I didn't respond because it's just weird. How could he act like nothing happened and ask me that? I feel like my whole life was, I don't even know. I know there is a lot to this situation that I don't have the energy to address right now, like changing locks or adding security measures, navigating our shared social circles, thinking about reporting this. I don't even know what to report. Like, nothing really happened, but it also did. I don't know. I just want to focus on my husband at the moment and fix myself in time because I have to meet him this Saturday and he's going to know something is up the second he sees me. I've already postponed once and can't do it again. I just want to know what would be the correct way to handle the situation because I'm going crazy. TLDR, I got pregnant while my husband was away, but miscarried before I could tell him. His younger brother, who was helping me through the miscarriage, crossed the line and assaulted me. I haven't told my husband or his family. I'm scared, confused, and don't know what to do.
Whew, this one is deep, y'all. She miscarried, she's grieving, and instead of getting support, the brother-in-law decided to be a predator. That is beyond disgusting. And now she's scared to tell her husband because she doesn't want to break him even more. But here's the thing, silence is protecting the wrong person. I really hope OP gets through this. This is really heartbreaking. Her husband deserves to know, even if it's hard. Let's read a few comments on the post. Buddy Inevitable 638 commented, "You need to tell your husband the whole story, leaving out no detail right away. No, it won't be easy. Do not tell your MIL or SIL before telling your husband." And OP replied, "I know that, but I don't know what to say. I just can't say the words. I don't know how I'm going to make him understand why I didn't say anything on the million calls we've had." Another comment from Bucky 2015, "You need to do this before your BIL tells him it was you who came on to him. The longer you wait, the worse this will get. Maybe even let him read this post so he can see you were super anxious about it." And OP replied, "I don't think he's going to believe that I came on to his brother. That's disgusting, and I wouldn't be with him if he would believe bullshit like that. But I did realize that this post can work like evidence or something. I don't know how these things go. In my favor if I press charges. I just need to learn how to say it before I do that." Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Let's move to the next story from the Relationship Advice subreddit. The story is by u/Ktrix in Relationship Advice subreddit. "Partner 37M planned to leave me 33F while still having sex with me. I found out because he called my therapist. I feel sick." With update. On Friday, my therapist emailed me letting me know my partner had called him, but didn't tell me why at first. When I asked my partner about it, he brushed it off and said he didn't know why he'd called, just that he felt compelled. Later, I found out the truth. He had been planning to leave me and had even sent drafts of a breakup letter to friends for feedback. He hoped my therapist would help him. The worst part is that we had just had sex on Tuesday. I confirmed we had sex after he started drafting a letter. I thought we were fine. He told me he loved me, acted normal, and let me believe we were okay while he was secretly planning his exit. Knowing that now makes me feel completely disgusted and violated. I would never have agreed to this had I known. He left without providing any insight and was cold and detached, using therapy speak to keep me at arm's length and to avoid his feelings. He cut all contact for almost 3 days while I crashed out.
He sent a message today, but it provided no insight into why he blew up our lives without any warning or plan. I do not plan to respond. Meanwhile, I'm here feeling like I was used by someone I trusted more than anyone. At first, I thought he was having a mental breakdown because of his recent hospital stay, and I did my best to support him from afar. I encouraged our friends to consider taking him to the hospital or pushing him to call his own therapist. Now that I've learned more about the timeline and see the manipulations in retrospect, I am no longer worried. I don't even know what to call this. Has anyone been through something like this? How do you process the anger and the violation when someone you love lies to you so deeply? Calling my therapist is weird, but being intimate with me after writing a breakup letter just feels so diabolical. TLDR, 33 female, 37 male. My partner secretly planned to leave me while still having sex with me, and I found out because he called my therapist and then lied about why. I feel disgusted, used, and don't know how to process this level of betrayal. Ooh, this one right here is grimy. Sis thought everything was fine. They were living together, being intimate, saying I love you, while this man was literally drafting his exit letter and sending it to his friends for edits. If that's not diabolical, I don't know what is. He knew exactly what he was doing. He let her body, her trust, and her love be a cover while he rehearsed walking away. That's manipulation at its coldest. Anyways, let's check what the comment says. C87 said, "It feels like such a violation he called your therapist." OP's reply was, "Yeah, it was strange to say the least. He doesn't know this, but he called my therapist while I was there for an appointment. He left his initial voicemail right around the time when I was telling my therapist that things have been really good with him recently, but he did seem slightly withdrawn. The universe is having a lot of fun with this one." Another comment from Bucky 2015. "Quite often people plan breakups while still having sex with their partner. Most breakups are planned over a number of weeks and people carry on the relationship like normal. It's possible to find someone sexually desirable, yet not want to be in a relationship with them. It's very unusual that he would contact your therapist and friends about it, and for them not to give you a heads up. They should have been loyal to you and told you." And OP replied, I know that, but it doesn't help me feel less violated, but focusing on the logic helps." She gave a mini update on the post. "Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to reply, offer advice, and share your similar experiences. You helped me move past the sadness stage and to realize I need to stop rationalizing his behavior for him. I realize now that while he is mentally unwell, these actions were not made by a man who was in psychosis. He knew what he was doing. Not all men, but always a man. Time to self-reflect and figure out why my self-esteem was low enough to allow myself to be placed in this situation. I'm eternally grateful to you. Thanks. We've been together for 3 years, living together for about 2.5. He recently finished a 7-week inpatient stay for mental health, and I have been doing everything I could to support him." Let us know what you think about this in the comments below. And that brings us to the end of today's sitting in Lover's Court. Remember, we don't judge the people, only the issues. So tell me, what's your verdict on today's cases? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Someone out there just might need to hear your judgment. Until next time, court is adjourned.